CEOs of various other institutions, very important representatives of teachers' unions, KUPPET, NAT, and all the others, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Let me start by introducing my council. If you can very kindly be upstanding for the people to see you, even if you are Dr. Bello Kipsan. Thank you very much. These are the members of my council with whom we have worked. Kindly be seated. I would like to start by saying that, as we promised last year, this year's KCPE examination was set and firmly secured until every Kenyan child was given an equal opportunity to take that test at the same time. We have established and maintained absolute examination integrity and credibility from the setting, warehouse storage, transport, container storage, dispatch, to sitting, and back to the warehouse and the marking processes, which were done under very secure process as a teamwork. And this team, of course, involved teachers, people from the Ministry of ICT, people from KNEC, people from the Ministry of Education, and all other security agencies and stakeholders. Ladies and gentlemen, during the year, KNEC procured an additional 67 containers with which we tried to bridge the gap. Last year, we had several containers, and we still had distances which were a challenge to us. And we involved my brother Ndimuli, who represents the head teachers, plus his team, and we mapped out the best way to place the containers so that we bridge the gap. We are not 100%, but it is much, much better than last year. And that this year we did not have issues with regards to accessibility to containers, except in one or two places which we shall address going forward. A total of 993,718 candidates sat for the examination this year in 26,284 centers from the 31st of October to the 2nd of November. There were 176,251 contracted professionals, which, as you know, the bulk of whom were teachers and security men, but we also had special agents and other stakeholders, and not to mention other cabinet secretaries and principal secretaries, and even number one of this country was humble enough to go one morning to ensure that the children were ready to start doing the exam. Ladies and gentlemen, because of heavy rains resulting in flooding and some difficult terrain, KNEC, through government, hired several helicopters and stationed some of them in Wajir, Turkana, Isiolo, Nairobi, and Kwale. This was to assist in airlifting materials, examination materials, timeously, in order for the children not to be disadvantaged. I want to emphasize the fact that this was complemented by helicopters awarded to us by the Kenya Police Service and the Kenya Defense Force. I therefore, on behalf of Council and Government, thank the Inspector General of Police and the Chief of General Staff of the Kenya Defense Forces for this very kind gesture. Let me recognize once again the fact that the top leadership of this country was involved in the direct monitoring of these examinations. I remember saying, Mucheru, I was watching, the time was not even 6 o'clock, and he was ready to open a container at Kambiamoto, somewhere in Nakuru, and many others, and many other PSS. So it's not, I think the success of this year's exam was the multi-agency approach, where the Kenyan, as a nation, Kenya as a nation was seen as if we were working all together. And I always believe that when we work together, we synergize each other, rather than anybody else taking credit. This year, the Kenya National Examination Council introduced new, innovative ways of administering the national examination in order to improve delivery and turnaround time. And as you can see, these results have come out earlier. Last year, I told you we had machines which had been used for 17 years. And if you have been following advancements in computing, 17 years is like a century. So government was able to provide 100 million, with which we bought some 20 OMR scanners. And the beauty of these scanners is that this time I want to guarantee you, and you can take it to the bank, that there shall be no complaints, because our marks are at 99.98%. Which means that each child will get what is due to him. The new machines, for the record, are more efficient and accurate when it comes to processing the examinations. And this, as I've told you, the Council has realized an accuracy of 99.98%. Ladies and gentlemen, the introduction of the personalized OMR machines. Last year I told you that my most humble self sat down and wrote index numbers for over 20,000 students. That's a fact. This time I didn't do any such thing because we pre-printed the name, center number, and index number in the OMR form, which came and actually enabled us to move very quickly with the marking process. With regards to the Kiswahili Insha, Braille and English composition, and those with hearing disabilities and Kenya Sign Language, we engaged again a gallant number of 5,366 Kenyan teachers, and they worked, I think they completed within 5 days to mark 993,000 and over. In order to improve, Bwana Cabinet Secretary, on the return of examination scripts, once the examinations had been done, a better and improved way of packing the examinations for return to the warehouse was introduced for KCPE. The return envelopes for KCPE OMR sheets were pre-printed with the unique barcodes for all centers and subjects. And I don't want to dwell on this because it is something that we are going to use again going forward. Even though we have improved, crooks are always there. So you will allow me to say that this made it possible for us to scan all the incoming materials, and that's why we realized at one time that there was one script left somewhere in Nakuru, and we were able to get that script 2 days later. So of great importance, finally, is the changes in the legislative framework through the introduction of Amendments 2017 to the Kenya National Examination Council Act 2012, which basically has prescribed stricter penalties for anybody who may attempt or dream to attempt to interfere with the examination process. And this has allowed us to see almost no attempt to mess around with them. I want to commend KNEC officers and officers from the Ministry of Education, starting with the directors. I can see quite a number of them there. Where the directors from the Ministry of Education, there are many of them, including the Director General. These people are in the field everywhere in the country. Please sit down. And they made sure. Today you see Mr. Mutisia. Today you see Mr. Mutisia in South Nyanza. Tomorrow you see him in Kilifi. So you really don't know where he's going to be next time. I want to end by saying that Nancy Macharia has already spoken about the teachers, but I want to give you my experience, and I can assure you I've been across the country. This time around, when I went to the classes, I saw the children very busy calculating, maths, busy writing. Do you get the point? It's not like last year. So something has happened, and I want to thank our colleagues for enabling us to work together. Because when you see a child who is in very busy, he doesn't even notice you are there. It means the brain is working. Now I'm talking like a doctor. But let me end by saying that what has captured my imagination are the two teachers wading through water. I am a urologist, so I work down there. So when the water is at your at your navel, it means it has gone everywhere. And the examination is carried ahead. And in one of them, one had even removed shoes, and there was an askari also wading through water. I want to say that I am happy to belong to the same country like these teachers. And we should be very, very proud of our teachers. And it only means that for the avoidance of doubt, we should encourage them and let nobody ever imagine that we shall go back to the status quo ante, where you are imagining that you want to open the paper before. We are no longer talking about leakage. We are talking about premature exposure. Even that premature exposure, we shall not allow, Madam Minister, because there might be a few people who are thinking, oh, they are maybe half an hour to 1 hour here. Do we expose so that we give our children? The children don't need your premature exposure, and you will see that by the results that Honorable Cabinet Minister is going to release to you. Finally, I never thought in my life that I would be very happy to work with primary school children like I do. Perhaps it was even a mistake to go and teach at the university. I thank you very much for the opportunity, Honorable Cabinet Secretary. Thank you.